What's up, everybody? Turn God Possibilities here to give y'all, to continue. What if Asta and Yuno obtained a soul leveling system? Now, before I get to the recap, let me explain why I'm uploading this. Today's St. Patrick's Day, and I thought do most to give a new part to all of my Black Clover what ifs, except for two. Also, I'm gonna release a new part of one of my other what ifs that I recently uploaded. The part 3 of what if Rimuru reincarnate into Fairy Tail instead. So yeah. So the only two I'm not gonna be uploading is giving a new part is what if Asa was trained by Goku, and what if the 100-year quest took place in the Clover Kingdom. Fairy Tail X Black Clover, which I'm having trouble continuing that, so yeah, that's the reason why having trouble figuring out story-wise how to continue it. So yeah, with that, let's get to the recap. Last time we left off, Asta was explaining to Magna why he killed these rogue mages that were trying to kill the villagers. He explains everything on how he obtained this system, and that's pretty much it. Let's get to the video, starting now. We continue our story off right after Asta explaining to Magna on the leveling system that him and his rival obtained 2 months before the Magic Knight exam. Which Magna is taken aback by this and somewhat surprised on how could something like this force you to kill. Which after he thinks this, he tells Asta to you're going to explain more after we get back to the hideout, which a couple minutes after the villagers get settled down and recuperate from the attack from those rogue mages, as well as burying a chief who still died in this story, which I don't know what they would do with the the dead bodies of the rogue mages. I don't know if they would bury them or contact the capital or something to pick them up to see if they can get anything from their bodies, or figure out what they were after or something. I don't know. Which after that, Nero comes in lands on top of Asta's head, which Asta sees that there's something in Nero's mouth. He tries to get, reaches for the thing in Nero's mouth, and he actually succeeds in getting it out. Which Nero, actually, before he tried getting it, Nero was pecking at Asta's head, which telling Nero to quit it. Which then he grabbed Nero and took the stone out of Nero's mouth. Which as soon as he took it out of it, the little boy who was the grandson of the chief says that was Grandpa's lucky charm. It's not really worth anything. If you want it, you can have it. Think of it as... Which, soon as he says this, Asta gets a notification from the system telling him what this stone is. Which, he sweat drops and internally freaks out, saying, "What? Which, before he says, one of the 11 magic stones?" Flashback. In case I forgot to mention this in the earlier parts. Flashback to sometime during the 2 months when after Asta and Yuno obtained the leveling system, the soul leveling system. with Yuno telling Asta, with Yuno examining holding his necklace, which the stone in it, which is one of the 11 magic stones, I think. Basically, he tells Asta what the system tells him about the stone he has. One of 11 magic stones that could increase the power of an elf. Individually, they can increase the power of an elf quite a bit. But altogether they could allows anyone the ability to access forbidden magic, though at a cost. Increasing their power and able to use forbidden magic. Asta is somewhat surprised that Yuno was left here at the church with something that dangerous. Which which then we return back to Asta's perspective, and tells right before Magna, Asta, and Noelle leave. Asta pulls Magna aside, telling him he may have an idea on why these rogue mages were here. Which Magna is somewhat taken back by this, but he says, asks Asta, tell me what you know. He tells him that the stone he got the grandson of the chief told him that this stone was his lucky charm, and the system gave him a description on what this stone is, telling him that it's one of 11 magic stones that used to belong to elves. Individually, they can increase the magic of an elf or a demon, or devil. Though, when all 11 stones are together, it can increase anyone's magic power, as well as allow them to give them access to forbidden magic. Magnus taken aback, saying, which then he yells Asta in a high tone, "What are you saying, Asta? Are you saying that these rogue mages were after that?" He says he's not completely sure, but it's the only thing that in this village that would make sense for them to come to attack it. Just to attack a village that was in the Forbidden Realm or whatever, the lower court, something, I don't know. For some group of rogue mages to attack some random village out here, it's too coincidental. Which, right before they left, he tells them he has to give them a second. Which Magna asks, "What are you doing?" He tells them that one of the abilities he gained from they acquired by using the system, which he explains his skill Reinforcement of the Dark Lord, which is a job skill that goes with his Dark Lord job, which allows him to summon any party members or allies, or anyone he considers an ally, to his side. Though their only drawbacks is he can't summon, if he was in a dungeon, he can't summon people from outside of the dungeon. And after he deactivates this skill, which as soon as he deactivates it, he can send the people he summoned back to where he summoned them from, and has to wait about an hour before he can use this skill again. Magnus taken back by this again, thinking that this ability would be extremely useful, and asks, why didn't you use it on any of the Black Bulls? I mean, why didn't you use it during the battle with the Black Bulls? Bring the Black Bulls here. He says he doesn't know them that well. And plus, the only person he knows combat-wise is his friend who's from the goal, is his rival, who also obtained the system, and doesn't know. He hasn't really tested that out yet and wasn't really sure. So he's going to try to test it out now and see if it works. And if it does, he's going to hand the stone to Yuno. It's useless in his, which Magnus says, no way, that thing's evidence. Which Asta says, like I said, if I'm going to have to, like you said, I'm going to have to explain everything to Captain Yami. When we get back to the hideout, which he's probably going to tell me I'm going to have to fill out a report on what happened at Saucy Village. Everything, including, along with everything that's about my own abilities, involving not just me, but also Yuno as well. So I'm gonna give while he's here, I'm gonna give him a heads up on there's a chance we may have to be called to capital or something. He may be called to by his captain, told her to do something. He's not exactly sure what. Which this Asta's smarter in this than compared to some of my other what ifs, because the system directly influences his own aspects, and mainly what I'm referring to is his intelligence. He has increased it to a little bit, not as much as Yuno's, but he has more grasp of understanding of things, which Magna is somewhat surprised and says, go right ahead then. Which Asta uses the skill to summon Yuno, which Yuno's somewhat mad and irritated because he was just now starting to right now he was starting to get prepared for to go on a mission given to him, and his first getting prepared to go on his first mission given to him by the Golden Dawn, which right before he can somewhat get mad, but right before he can start complaining to Asta, Asta tells him that on what happened here, and says they found one of the 11 magic stones, which shocks Yuno. Says, really? Which, before he can ask anything else, ask how and why and where he found it, he also tells him, though I also have some important matters to tell you. I was forced to reveal the leveling system, so I'm also giving you a heads up on the chance of your captain, your squad's captain, calling you up sometime soon. Which they also tells Yuno somewhat gets angry, and right before he can say anything, as he starts to Asta, he gets angry at Asta, saying, "How could? What happened? Why were you forced to tell your squad? Forced to reveal this information? I thought we were going to keep it a secret until we can figure out more about this system." Asta says, "I was forced into telling him about the system because that he got, which is he right before he tells him that's also another reason why I need some warn you about. Yuno somewhat stops, just stops and asks, "What do you mean?" Asta tells him about the that he right as he was about to do battle with these rogue mages who were attacking this village. He was given an emergency quest to saying detect hostility towards the player, saying that he got an emergency quest telling him to kill all the rogue mages. If not, if he didn't kill them within a certain amount of time, that he would die as well. That he would die with his heart stopping. Yuno is just dumbfounded and just goes silent completely. And with a sweat drop or whatever. Are you sure? Yes. I'm telling you on the heads up, there's a chance you may get an emergency quest as well. During your missions. Like I did. Which he also tells him about, shows him the skill runes, saying I also got drops from when I killed them. Yuno's all surprised again, and Asta pulls out one of the runes and tosses it to Yuno and shows him, saying it's a rune that can give, once used, it can give the user the ability to use ice magic, which Yuno is somewhat hesitant and ask, so what? Our system can allow us to take the magic affinity of others we kill, or their abilities, or essentially just their abilities? He thinks maybe. He also tells them that he also got a skill for killing people. A random skill he got from killing those guys. Bloodlust. It's a skill given away for killing a human for the first time. So he says, if you ever kill someone, you will get this. There's a good chance you may get this skill. Also, there's a chance you may get the abilities of someone you kill as a runestone. So yeah. Yuno takes this into account and says, he says, okay, if that's it, please send me back. Which then he tossed the runestone back to Asta and says, keep that, it's yours. I don't think I have any need for ice magic. Though, I'm not sure if you can use it, or either. Not sure if you can use magic or not. Even with that skill, not sure what it will do. Asta understands and puts it back into his inventory. Which then he takes the magic stone and gives it to, Yuno. Which then Yuno waves saying, okay, send me back. And I guess see you later, Asta, if we do siege. Or something like that. So yeah. Asta activates his skill and sends Yuno back to the Golden Dawn. Which then we skip about an hour, time skip about an hour or two, or an hour and a half with Magna, Asta, and Noelle returning back to the Black Bull's hideout. Which then both Magna, Asta and Noel give a full report back on what happened at Saucy Village, with Asta revealing the origin and pretty much revealing everything about the system, even the smallest about most of the most of the skills he gained, and saying pretty much he reveals a good bit of almost everything about the system, which Yami was expecting all this when he sent those three to fulfill debt, to work out the debt that he had between, work out the debt he had with the village chief. And also which during the report, he also mentions saying that, he tells he tells everyone that he also got something. Because of the system, he was able to get some things from the rogue mages. Which then, he pulls out a strange device. He tells them that when he killed one of the rogue mages, this came out of him. This fell off this person. He says it's a magic item that can allow that once used, its user and any of its targets would pretty much self-destruct, turn into killing themselves. Which Magna says, wait, what? Why didn't you tell me this? He tells him that he thought he would freak out, or at least waited until they got back to the Black Bulls. Saying, even if I wasn't given given that emergency quest to kill, that forced me to kill the rogue mages, those guys, even if we did capture them, they would have used this to kill themselves, do a suicide pact. Which Magna thinks, damn it, even if we did capture them. He just replays, there was nothing they could have done there wasn't anything they could have done. Though, he tells him to we're gonna send that magic item to the capital, as well as give a full-out report on what happened there at Saucy Village, these rogue mages, these magic stones you said that they might have been after, thinking that there wasn't all of them. Which Yami thinks that most likely wasn't all of them. If they were there to obtain this magic stone the village had, that the village unknowingly had, there's a good chance that there's more than just those guys. Which then he also says, kid, tomorrow, let's try out one of those dungeons you said. I want to see this dungeon for myself. Asta is somewhat surprised Yami said this, because during his debriefing he mentioned the part about where he's given a dungeon key for this leveling system, where he can open up a dungeon, a portal to pretty much open a portal to somewhere else, into a dungeon, pretty much. Which he's also forced to tell him about. During these dungeons, he can also gain gold money from them. Which Yami says, right as when Yami says this, he tells him, Really? And he tells him, please, give me, puts his hand out and says, you're part of the squad. Well, he asks how much, actually, he had first asked Asta, how much do you have exactly with this system? Which he can take out the gold currency or whatever and able to use it in the, well, as well as use it to purchase things, not just from the system, but also from people around him. Like, if he was going to buy some food from someone, he can take out the gold or whatever from it and use it. He tells him, well, I haven't really come up with the number of I haven't really figured out how much he would have right now, but he tells him whatever he had, Sanjin Wu had after doing the job change quests, that's how much he has right now. Which Yami says, you hand him some. He needs to go pay off some debts. He really needs it bad, which surprises Asta extremely, thinking, how bad at poker are you? Which he remembers the reason why they had to go on this mission is because he lost a poker game to the chief of Saucy Village in the first place. Asta begrudgingly agrees, giving Yami some gold, which Yami's somewhat happy. And that's pretty much it. After that, next day, actually we shift to someone else's perspective, with Yuno going on on that his first mission given to him by the Golden Dawn, which soon as this is taking place right after he's sent back after Asta summoned him, which he goes on that same escort mission as in canon, but things go a little differently. As soon as, the second time these mages appeared, pretty much kills the guy that kidnapped Sister Lily, as well as having a whole bunch. He kills about he pretty much kills all of them because of the system giving him an emergency quest. Though some of them he was able to. Actually, he was forced to kill him, and he was able to. He went for the same exact thing. With Mars, Four Eyes. I keep forgetting his name. What's his name? The one with the steel magic. He goes for the same thing as Asa did with Magna. With Klaus? Yeah, I think his name was Klaus. Klaus questioning him, thinking, what are you doing killing these guys? Killing them. Which him and Mimosa come up with their escort wrapped up in plant magic and with that flower that speaks the truth. Which then he somewhat gives the same explanation, thinking he can't believe this. He's going. The same thing is happening to him. The same exact thing that happened to Asta is happening to him now. Though he is somewhat happy that he got new abilities, though he doesn't know what to. Which he also, right before they came, he used his shadow, the same skills Song Jian-woo has, arise to bring back the dead, making shadow soldiers. Which, when he did that, the grimoire, something strange happened. Right before those people's grimoires started to vanish, they reappeared again, which they turned black. Their grimoires turned black with them keeping the color of whatever magic they had. Which surprised Yuno, thinking that, it looks like their grimoires stayed with them before they even turned. Before they came back right when he brought them back to life. He thinks he'll examine this later, which he has enough room in his shadow save ability with his second skill, shadow save, to save them to test them out later. Which, after that, they're turned back to the Golden Dawn, and they're told to give a report, which we see in the distance on top of the on the demon skull, with the Wizard King thinking, so that's the kid with the 4-leaf clover grimoire, and what was that magic? Along with those weird shadow soldiers. I thought he had wind magic, though it seems like he has 2 different types of magic. And that's the end of the video. Hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And before I go, let me explain a few things. I'm sorry for uploading this at the wrong time. Sorry I'm uploading this extremely late. I was supposed to record and upload this along with the next part of What If Rimuru Reincarnated into Fairy Tale instead earlier today, but some things got in the way, and yeah, I kept getting interrupted and distracted to do it. So sorry. So my bad. Things happen. And that's pretty much it. Tell me what you think down in the comments, and tell me what you think that Asta and Yuno should call the leveling system. Should they call it leveling magic or status magic? Because they're going to have to they have to explain it to people when they're, well, explain it to the Wizard King and their captains or whatever, their squad members and all that. So yeah,